How's it going, Guardians? Shifty here, and today I want to talk about a weapon that gets little to no fanfare, but I think it's an excellent weapon. In fact, surprisingly, it's become one of the standout weapons for me in Season 15. The weapon that I'm going to be talking about today didn't come with the 30th anniversary event, it actually came out at the beginning of Season of the Lost. That weapon is the Wolftone Draw Bow. Now, the Wolftone Draw Bow is a precision frame bow, which means it has a longer draw time but does a little bit more damage than the lightweight frame bows. However, that means it competes directly with the point of the stag, which is also a precision frame arc bow. So, does Wolftone Draw have anything that makes it stand out against point of the stag? Well, I hope to answer that question in today's video. But before I do, if you end up enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright, so normally in a video like this I would consider going over the stats and comparing them to other weapons in the same archetype. However, the base stats of precision frame bows hardly differ from one another. So on that front, Wolftone Draw doesn't stand out any more than Point of the Stag or any other precision frame bow. So all that leaves us to compare is possible perk combinations. Now here are all of the potential perks you can get on the Wolftone Draw. In the first column you have bowstring options, in the second you have arrow options, then in the third and fourth column is where you'll find your legendary traits. So in a lot of cases I think the perks in the first two columns are up to each individual player. I often go as far as to say god rolls are up to each individual player. However, if I did have to recommend bowstrings, I would go with elastic string, which improves handling and draw time at the cost of a little bit of accuracy. I would also recommend natural string, which increases accuracy, stability, and handling just a little bit. Then as far as arrow type in that second column, I would go with fiberglass arrow shaft, which increases accuracy at the cost of stability. You also have helical fletching, which increases accuracy and stability. And then another great option is straight fletching, which increases accuracy. Now we get to the really important perks in that third and fourth column. There are two primary perks that I would recommend in that third column. The first one I would recommend is Archer's Tempo, which decreases draw time after every precision hit. This is an excellent perk on bows for getting more arrows out faster. That overall improves the DPS of your bow. However, the second perk I would recommend is actually Shoot to Loot. This is a returning perk from Destiny 1 that was added into Destiny 2 for Season of the Lost. This is currently the only bow in the game that can roll with Shoot to Loot. This makes it so shooting an ammo brick picks it up and automatically reloads all of your equipped weapons from reserves. In my personal opinion, this is an underrated perk, and it actually is on my personal god roll. And then in that fourth column I have three recommendations for you. The first recommendation I have is Dragonfly. Now this perk often gets overlooked because people think it's bad. However, what many players don't realize is Dragonfly gets stronger on weapons that do more damage. That means on something like a bow and a sniper, the Dragonfly explosion is going to be more impressive than something like an auto rifle. With that said, Dragonfly makes it so precision kills create an elemental damage explosion. Now I did make a video on this earlier in the season, but if you didn't know, Dragonfly and Shoot to Loot actually interact. If you were using a Wolftone Draw with Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly, and you were to get a precision kill, that Dragonfly explosion would pick up any ammo that was dropped by the enemy that you just killed. If you've been paying attention to the gameplay in the background, you may have noticed that. Anyway, the next perk I would recommend in that final column is Frenzy. Now this makes it so being in combat for an extended time increases damage, handling, and reload for this weapon until you are out of combat. What's great about Frenzy is as long as you get it activated and you're frequently in combat, it will stay activated. That means you're going to have a blanket 15% damage increase, on top of all of the other stat increases that come along with it. So overall, Frenzy is a pretty solid perk that gets passively activated. And the last perk I recommend in that final column is Demolitionist. This makes it so kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. While that second part of the perk isn't really great for bows, I think that the first part is. If you're trying to make a grenade focused build, Demolitionist is kind of a go-to perk. And if you're a fan of bows, the Demolitionist roll on the Wolftone Draw might play well with your build. Now overall, you may be wondering what my personal god roll is. Well, I basically already have my personal god roll. The only two things that are out of place are those first two column perks. Otherwise, I have a Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly roll on my Wolftone Draw. As you can see here, I already have over 3,000 kills on this bow just from this season alone. Now, in any of the background gameplay, you may have seen me using this particular roll. In that gameplay, I'm doing a regular lost sector. With that in mind, I can already see people stumbling across this video thinking that Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly on this bow would be a garbage roll. However, I just transitioned to gameplay of me using a Wolftone draw with Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly in a Grandmaster Nightfall solo. Now that anti-barrier rounds have been added to the Arbalest, I like to pair that with a Wolftone draw. In this particular run, I'm using Arbalest for barrier champions and Thread and Needle for unstoppable champions. That leaves my energy slot open for whatever weapon that I want. In this case, I chose to go with a Wolftone draw with Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly. And you know that I mentioned earlier that if a weapon does more damage, then Dragonfly is actually better on that weapon? Well, since bows are one of the highest damage primary weapons, Dragonfly is actually an excellent option on a bow. So I'm also running Dragonfly spec on the bow, which increases the damage and radius of Dragonfly. Even in a Grandmaster Nightfall, getting a precision kill on an enemy will do enough damage to nearby enemies to make them a one-shot with the bow. In these cases, it will make it so you can trigger multiple bow kills back to back to back. And as long as you're getting precision kills, you're going to chain more damage to nearby enemies. As far as legendary bows go, this is an excellent option for clearing out groups of enemies at a time. Not only is Dragonfly pretty solid, but if you have Shoot to Loot, that Dragonfly explosion is going to replenish your ammo and reload all of your weapons. This can be extremely useful in Grandmaster Nightfalls, and it can help you speed up the run by making it so you don't have to worry about looking around for ammo. On top of that, if you see ammo bricks out in the distance but it's dangerous to go grab them, you can simply shoot those ammo bricks with your bow. That will automatically pick them up for you and reload your weapons. That particular trait alone can be extremely useful in a Grandmaster Nightfall where you may be running out of ammo, but you want to pick up a brick that you see out in a dangerous situation. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I don't see a lot of fanfare surrounding Wolftone draw. However, I personally love this bow. While you may end up not loving this bow as much as I do, I know there are some people out there who will. In my personal opinion though, I highly recommend the Wolftone draw, specifically with Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly. If you manage to get your hands on that roll, try it out and let me know what you think. Now in this video I've talked a lot about my personal god roll. However, I also gave plenty of other perk recommendations. So if you don't want to try out my particular god roll, you can always try any other combination of perks. You don't even have to stick with the ones that I recommended in particular. Anytime I review or look at a legendary weapon and I recommend any sort of god rolls, I highly recommend players look for their own personal god roll. It's probably the case that some people out there would never want Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly even after everything they've seen in this video. That's perfectly fine. There's all kinds of different players in this game and people are going to enjoy different weapons. Part of the reason that I focus so heavily on Shoot to Loot and Dragonfly is to show people the interaction. There are a few instances of perks in the game having cool interactions, and I think this one is pretty cool itself. Not only that, but it can actually be quite useful. I also know that Dragonfly has a poor reputation, but in the case of bows, it's actually not a bad perk. If you thought that Dragonfly was bad all around, I would ask you to reconsider trying it on a bow. Anyway, that is all I have for my Wolftone draw god roll recommendations and review. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe. I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.